All right. Welcome to How We Live, a podcast completely dedicated to the game of LIV Golf 2024. We'll be talking about the upcoming recap of Jeddah, looking forward to Hong Kong. A lot of news and events coming in, players, teams, within LIV, outside of LIV, a lot of news happening currently throughout the day today. I want to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Colby Pete, and I'm joined by my co-host, Pete McCoubry. As always, like to start it off with Pete's time capsule. So take it away, Pete.
Yep, little time capsule about golf. It's been 6,935 days since the release of the movie The Greatest Game Ever Played. Remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
When he's playing, he kind of blacks out and can only see the course.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 7 days since we last recorded, maybe even 8. And it's been 0 days, according to ESPN.com, since LIV and PGA can't stop chirping at each other. So all that brings us to this.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Consistently one season since the first season of Full Swing, and we're going to get into season 2 in just a little bit because I have a lot to discuss. I know a lot of people out there probably watched it today at its release. But yeah, want to start it off with our tee shot here, the big story of the week. We have multiple big stories of the week. First one is recap LIV Jeddah. Very exciting tournament out there at Royal Greens Country Club in Jeddah, just outside of Jeddah, right on the Red Sea coast. Very fun tournament to pay attention to. Joaquin Niemann clinched his second LIV Golf League victory, blazing through with the final round, 4 under at a 66, and really seizing the top spot in the individual championship standings. Joaquin's stunning low draw on 15. Pete, did you see this shot? He smacks the ball in the last round. The hole bends, kind of like I would say a dogleg left, almost as if it was an Indy track and it's taking a hard left. He takes his club, swings it. This thing goes up higher than a stinger, but just a low, beautiful fading draw. The pitch of the fairway goes like this, and he just lands it in the center of it, and it rides the track all the way around. It's just beautiful shot.
Shades of not exactly the same, but Bubba Watson, that Masters that he won, deep in the hole, just somehow sliced it around pretty much perfectly. And my boy, this is I was gonna say no pun intended, but now that I'm saying it, like he's on a bit of a bender right now. That guy is red hot,
smoking hot. You could say muy caliente on Team Torquay.
I mean, you could, yeah.
Good. You've always been a Team Torquay guy, big Demon guy since the beginning of this.
Yeah, since we started this, that's this team I've hitched my wagon to. Team Torquay. It feels, my relationship with LIV as it evolves is kind of like an American who moves to England, just chooses a soccer team kind of arbitrarily, but then everything's coming up Team Torquay, and so
you choose right.
Especially,
I would say, I mean, we talk a lot about the team brands, logos, etc. Out of all of the branding, I would say that Torquay probably has the soundest branding as far as color scheme goes. Yeah. And the big swooshing T across the top, but that also has some significant appeal versus having someone's got to talk Team Smash about the upside down thing. I'm not really I don't know what that means. I don't know what the upside down thing. And then you have the Legion 13, kind of this lion, but we'll go on about that. Either way, moving on from just the individual win, we'll get on to team winnings in just a second, but some other big news. Obviously at a LIV, Greg Norman announced to the LIV players this week that the LIV League is no longer going to be, seeking OWGR or One World Golf Rankings or official World Golf Rankings status. They've been in negotiations since the inception of LIV. I think it was like June of 2022 when they first started seeking points for these world rankings. I mean, the big hubbub is obviously that, LIV is 54 man tournaments. They are 54 holes. They are 3 days. There's a team aspect, even though they confirm to traditional rules where players can't give advice while out playing on the course. So they don't do that anyways. It's really just a collection of who shoots the lowest. and they're just not getting it. And there's other tours that have emerged that are more traditional, kind of to the line of OWGR, that have been given world ranking status since even after the fact that LIV is applied. So Greg Norman's like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not even going to try going for this. But I don't know if you saw that news this week as well.
Yeah, and I saw John Rahm kind of chirping about it too. That was the top headline on ESPN. It doesn't make, I think since the beginning you've noticed, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It's just golf. Like, it's not like they have to play 72 holes back to back to back to back. I don't think that's making a huge difference. And we've seen time and time again, like if my boy Joaquin is beating probably the best in the world, John Rahm, twice in like 4 weeks, that guy is better than the 15th best player in the PGA, or the 30th or the 50th. Like, I don't know. It just seems like an arbitrary ranking system.
Yeah, I mean, even guys on the PGA were even talking about this. I saw quotes from Fitzpatrick. I saw, other players just being like, "Look, like we understand, like, this is a tough situation," and they talking about majors, and they want to see like the best players and all the golfers, regardless of what tour you're on. They want to see the best players in the majors. They want to go up against it. It's supposed to be the best players in the world, and outside of OWGR, they're paying attention to who's doing what. They see the news. They see that Niemann's won two of three on LIV. They saw him win the Australian Open. They saw him win in Dubai. They know that he's hot right now, and they know that he's coming for blood, and he's coming to 2, 3 out of the 4 majors in 2024. So as long as he stays healthy, the guy has such an interesting build. He is so thin. He could. It was windy in Jeddah. I thought he was going to blow into the ocean, and
Yeah.
I saw it.
He
His
was
back
at
must be like wrenched.
86 pounds. But it doesn't really matter. Like, you're building golf, but also it's like it only hurts the PGA guys currently on tour that are sort of victims of this, in my opinion, because there's going to be an asterisk. Like, when all this cools off, whether that's in like hopefully a week, but maybe like 10 years, 20 years, you get these guys that might win a major, and it's like, but by the way, some of the best guys were invited because some arbitrary weird financial dispute.
Well, there's that whole asterisk thing with Taylor Gooch of last week, and that blew up in his face, and I think was taken out of context. I heard him on a podcast just saying like, look, like all the players just want to play together. Like, the top guys want to play against the top guys and want to play in the most competitive golf. And what is cool is our boy Joaquin has obviously figured a workaround to it, and it's catching fire. He's playing in these OWGR tours, like the Asian Tour, for example, and going out and winning. Now, so after Hong Kong, coming up this week, which we'll get to in just a little bit, is Macau. And through that is the Asian Tour, which is recognized by OWGR. So there are 21 out of the 54 players on LIV that are going and playing that right after Hong Kong. So they're wise to this, and a lot of them say, hey, I want to get back to the majors. I want to get back to collecting points. I'm going to take my huge signing bonus from LIV, and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to use that money to continue to invest in myself and get these OWGR points and go to majors, hopefully. So there is a workaround to it. There's people that want to get, point ranking from OWGR directly from LIV, and that's why you have the guys. So like, I joined LIV because I don't want to play 28, 30 tournaments a year. I want to play, potentially 14 if I get to an individual and team championship. So, maybe one day, I think it's going to have to come to some sort of conclusion here, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, there can be a weighted system though, like the college football playoff. If you play in the SEC, if you have 2 losses, you're more highly ranked than the team that plays in like the WAC with 0 losses or 1 loss. So, like, there's got to be a workaround here. But the conspiracy theorist in me feels like all this is probably good for golf.
I mean, he's definitely bringing a lot of attention to it. What I hope is that it doesn't like deter people. There's a lot of talk about being like, is golf losing fans because of all the drama around it? I think it's bringing a lot of new, fresh perspectives and eyes to it. Like, obviously, the inception of our podcast was kind of driven from this, but at the same time, there's other people out there in the world that they're tuning in and paying more attention and seeing what the drama is going to do. I don't know. Like all we need is one of these guys to start dating Taylor Swift, and then everything is going to change overnight.
Dating Taylor Swift's a good idea. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
even dating one of the chain smokers is another good idea.
Just anything out there. Anything out there. So I know that, today was the release day of season 2 of Full Swing. You didn't have a chance to watch it.
No.
I
did, but then you said Rory was the star of the show, and I said, you know what? I got other stuff I have to do.
That's right. So it was awesome, like always. Without any spoilers, I think it also brings to the fact that how tumultuous it was last year amongst LIV and PGA before all this, and then you had like talks to the merger and Jay Monahan and everything, and obviously leadership at the PIF. But the first episode ends with Brooks Koepka at the PGA Championship, winning. Kind of bringing a lot of credibility. The 3 of the top 6 players were LIV players at the Masters. It was just like a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is happening, and this is not going anywhere." And obviously, with the 2024 season of LIV, it's sticking around. Next big news, happening literally only a couple hours ago. The PGA Tour Enterprise has established a 13-member board of directors. Recently launched the PGA Tour Enterprises. The board, effective immediately, includes 9 PGA Tour directors approved by the PGA Tour Policy Board and 4 Strategic Sports Group (SSG) directors appointed by the SSG Investor Group. This board will oversee the commercial activities, fan engagement, growth initiatives for the PGA, focusing on new media, sponsorships, and commercial opportunities. Notably, 6 player directors from the PGA Tour Policy Board, including Tiger Woods, will simultaneously serve on the PGA Tour Enterprises Board. Joel Ogilvy, former PGA Tour player, has been selected as director liaison for both boards. Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan will serve as CEO of Enterprises, which I thought interesting considering it was announced the same day as the new season of Full Swing. And go watch that, because with these 2 news topics surrounding one another, a lot of people have a lot of question marks. You also, it maybe it is very interesting. Or it just maybe just try to counter that news. I don't know, but Fenway Sports Group led SSG as a minority investor and has contributed $1.5 billion to unlock the investment opportunities of tour growth. The 4 SSG directors include John Henry, Arthur Blank, Andrew Cohen, Sam Kennedy, and the Enterprises board will elect the chairman in an upcoming meeting. The expansion will result in Commissioner Monahan being a voting member of the PGA Tour Policy Board. So, Tiger vice chair. Board members include the names of Patrick Cantlay, and you also have Jordan Spieth on there. Notable missing person, unless he becomes the chairman, is Rory McIlroy. He's not in there. Maybe he didn't want to be. I don't know.
Not surprised by that. I mean, but that's some heavy hitters. You mentioned John Henry as well. I think we've talked about this on the pod before.
Yeah.
Guys not paying attention to my Boston Red Sox even a single bit.
No.
But it's good they have. I mean, Tiger. I'm curious as to what that role is for him. As to like how much, like is he going to board meetings? Is there like
they've got to, unless they're held at at the PGA headquarters in Florida. Like I feel like Tiger's probably calling it in on his phone while walking the course or playing with Charlie Woods out there somewhere. I think like he's like, oh yeah, I'll be there in a minute, and just never shows up. He's like, I'm the vice chair. I'm good.
The vice chair is the best possible position on a board. You're not the chair. You're just the vice chair. If the chair guy gets sick.
Yeah, I feel like the vice chair's role, especially if you're Tiger Woods, is to like day one of the first board meeting is to walk in there and hand out like Sunday red golf towels. Like, guys, check it out.
It's like that usually comes with like an honorary. He's the honorary vice chair. It's Tiger. He's not really doing anything. I think Rory's lack of involvement is we've talked about it so much that he just came in too hot, and now he's kind of been proven wrong every step of the way. And I think he's probably trying to step away from being like the anti-LIV guy.
Maybe he is. Maybe he's just like, I'm not going to deal with this right now. I need to focus on these majors and, play work on my profession and be a career golfer and just like take a load off. Maybe in a few years I'll get involved, but I gotta wait for this water to settle a little bit. Either way, very interesting news. I kind of like at the same time, $1.5 billion, $3.5 billion total, whatever it was, going against the PIF. It will be interesting to see what the counter is, because what was it? We talked about a few weeks ago about the PIF being valued at somewhere around 660 billion. So we'll see where the money goes. I do want to touch point on some other notables from Jeddah as well. Specifically our boy on the high flyers, who we've talked about. He's yet to net a win on LIV. He did well in the Masters, though, as I was reminded of last year. But Phil Mickelson played his best tournament in LIV in his LIV tenure, tying for sixth with an impressive 10 under, securing a bogey-free Sunday at Jeddah. Charles Woltol bounced back in style, tying for second at 13 under with his teammate Louis Oosthuizen from the Stingers. So South African team seems to be kind of generating a little buzz. Tournament highlights also include Brandon Grace's precision, Dean Burmeister just crushing the ball off the tee. And, of course, Cam Smith, as always, just singing putts left and right. I think he had the least amount of putts, like averaging like 4.5, 4.3 putts a hole, something stupid.
That's not good.
Just 1.5 putts? You never two putt? You two putt or you one putt? That's it.
You said 4.3 putts per hole.
No, 1.4. I might have said 4.3. 1.4, 1.3, whatever it was. That was his average putting.
If it was 4.3 and that was the best.
No, that would be like if you or I were out there, like hitting, trying to make putts from off the green in the rough, Texas wedge style.
Yeah, I start putting about 75 yards out.
Yeah.
Control. I think it's good. A guy like Phil's playing his best golf for some of the big tournaments. Like maybe it's gonna help go back to maybe just helps the PGA. Like get some of these guys that are past their prime or just getting into it, get a couple of tournaments without as much pressure on it. They're playing really good golf. Louis Oosthuizen, that guy hasn't been in the mix in years, and he's.
No, I don't know what's going on. If he has tendonitis in his knee, he's wearing like one of those knee sock things most of the tournament too.
Yeah.
So rest up, Oosthuizen. He's also I think he's also one of those guys playing in Macau in a week after Hong Kong. And now a moment for our sponsor. A Wink or a Non Marketing is a new boutique marketing agency specifically designed for small businesses. If you are too busy or simply just don't know how to run social media, build a brand plan, or write copy, go to winkoranod.com. Some of the mulligans of the week for me, really excited about Anthony Kim, AKA.
Yeah.
AKA. But Anthony Kim, after 12 years, I was watching. I have another thing about broadcasting in a little bit, but I was watching the broadcast, and at the onset of the tournament, everyone's like, we really need to. Day one, everyone's like, this is great for Anthony. We're happy he's back. We're really excited he's here. He's going to go on and do great things with LIV, blah, blah, blah. But then they're like, but 12 years is a long time to knock off that rust, dust, whatever you want. We need to bring our expectations down a little bit, give the guy some space, chill out, just see what he's going to do out there. I feel like expectations were so high and excited at the onset, and that kind of like LIV commentary day one was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Why is everyone seeing that? Obviously, because they had an inside look at consistency, like what he was doing off the driving range, what his putting looks like, his overall, nerves. I think he looked really nervous. First few holes, like round one, I saw a lot of myself in him, just a hard shank right with, mid fairway iron. He was surprised. He was almost taken away by. It was a good thing there weren't that many spectators at this tournament, because they definitely would have taken some poor person's head off. But, still, he finished up with +6 day one, +6 day two, +4 day three. So he did show improvement. A few birdies in there left and right. Like if I've probably collectively only been playing like golf, like in a serious way, maybe 6 to 8 years. And he hasn't played in 12 years and played professionally before that. The guy still shot 76, 76, 74,
Yeah.
where I'm not, I'm not breaking 90 out there. Like, well, like I'm just, but I see that as like, oh, that's pretty good. But finished dead last at the end of the tournament.
Well, I feel like you got to give yourself, my mulligan of the week needs to go to you. Like, you can't, no one expected dead last, which is the most hilarious outcome for him to get. It's just like, and also maybe goes to show you, maybe LIV can use that as a feather in the cap too. They're like, this guy, he was on top of the world. He came back. By the way, we're so good. He finished. So, mulligan of the week really goes to Anthony Kim. It's like, did you think that was a good idea at the time? Obviously, he did, but
I'm gonna flip the mulligan of the week actually back on its head. Maybe the mulligan of the week goes back to us thinking that Anthony Kim didn't make a good decision by going to LIV because he's sitting on anywhere from $5 to $7.5 million just for signing up, and he gets to play golf. What the 3 tournaments in, you have 13 total plus the championship. So he's got 10 more weekends left in him. He's making, what is that, $800,000 a weekend regardless.
Just this past summer, I got invited to a golf tournament with a mutual friend of ours, Pete Vitale.
Love Pete Vitale. Great guy.
He said, can you shoot a 96 over 18?
Yeah.
And if I said no, I couldn't get in the tournament. So I just said, yeah, of course I can do that.
Yeah.
Did I do that? Not necessarily. Was I close? Not necessarily. But I was out there, gave my best shot. If I'm able, I was like, yeah, my game's sharp. I'm in. 7.5 million, I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he does just fine. I mean, obviously he's a wild card for the remainder of the season, so we'll see how it goes. He's still, like I said, showing those signs of resiliency out there. He's happy his family's with him, his daughter's with him. He's playing in Hong Kong next week. It'll be kind of interesting to see how he progresses, and I think he will. I mean, dude, like 76, 74, like 4 over, like that's not terrible. Like it's not bad. You just gotta, keep it less than double digits and just ride it out. Another mulligan, at least from the tournament in Jeddah, Adrian Moronk, who was tied for leader with Rahm on day 1. On the final day, he faced a penalty for pace of play. He was playing too slow, so they gave him a stroke for it. He made a birdie on a par 5. They made him out of par. One thing that I thought was interesting, I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of tough for the Polish guy off DP World Tour. That put him from finishing tied 5th with Rahm to tied 6th, and it cost him about $385,000.
Really tough. You got to play fast.
Gotta just hit the ball, man.
Just hit the ball.
I don't know if he was timing the wind or like what was going on, but you just just hit it, bud.
That's the problem. You can't time the wind. Pocahontas did
that. I know. The last mulligan of the week that I have is the broadcast.
Cool. I'm going to let you have this one, but this is the problem when you and I play golf together. You just get one mulligan a week. You're on your 5th or 6th right now.
I know, but I've been reflecting. It's Wednesday after the Sunday final day. I've had a lot of time to reflect on this. So the last and final thing, which I think needs to be said, and I don't know. This is kind of the part of like, we love the good, but we also are going to talk about the bad. The broadcast at Jeddah, I don't know if LIV is bound to like some specific Saudi union that does broadcasting and they've never broadcasted, or they just always use maybe in-house staff at Royal Greens. But I understand it's a shotgun start and you want like this fast pace of play, but there was also moments where the ball was hit from a player. It would land in a bunker. And you didn't see, they would show a camera angle from the green. So the bunker face is up in your face and you don't actually see where the ball lies in the bunker. There was another time too, where a ball was landed on the fairway, rolled off, and there was kind of like a little hill knoll, like towards water. And you hear Flaherty just being like, oh, that might be in the water, but you never see where the ball goes. You're just like, all right, I guess I'm just going to take Flaherty. And that you might not go back to that player. So that was one thing that I thought was a little tough about the broadcast. The other thing that I thought was a little tough was the overall, like, and this is nitpicking, obviously, but it was distracting, was the overall saturation of the colors on my TV. And it wasn't my TV because I would on the weekend, I would flip back from Jeddah to Cognizant and back. And you could see the drastic difference, like what the PGA quality of broadcasting looks like versus it wasn't like this in Vegas. So I don't know if it's a LIV thing or who they used or whatever, but the saturation, the fairways were like a luminescent neon green, and the sky was also bright white. The ball, sometimes you couldn't even see on the green while the guy was putting it. And they're like, here's the LIV line. And you're like, where's the ball? I don't know what's happening. I really want to watch this right now, but thank God the LIV line's there because I don't know if the ball is even on the green at this point. It was weird.
That was the first tournament of the year. I noticed that it's broadcast in a way that it's like, it reminds me of old MTV like Rock and Jock games when they're trying to do too much. They have like a neon leaderboard and there's music playing and they're doing like a lot with visuals. Right. Just where's the ball?
Yeah, it doesn't need to come off as a video game. Like I just want to watch. So you go to you just want to be able to have contrast between the white ball and the green surface. It shouldn't be too difficult. I'm not a video editor or a photographer or whatever, but I have to think that filtering green versus white has got to be a pretty easy thing. Though the one good thing that I did find out, because I was looking at speaking of broadcasts, I was looking at the how they do a replay on day one on the CW app, which is cool. It starts at like 12:30, so you don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn. I was a little nervous about that. I wanted to get some coverage of it. They do, and the replay is played, every single day of the tournament, whether it's watching on CW or watching on the LIV Golf Plus website, which is in beta right now, which is also kind of interesting because you can also go in through the LIV Golf Plus website and watch any grouping you want. So if you wanted to watch all of Anthony Kim the whole day, you could do that. If you wanted to watch all of Joaquin Niemann all day, you could do that. So they do have the options out there. It's in beta testing from what I understand, and they're going to roll out options, and they'll probably start charging people for some sort of subscription. But right now it's free, which is cool. So getting into approach section of our podcast, which is, of course, delving into team news. Team to take Jeddah was, of course, the Crushers, Bryson DeChambeau. This was actually a pretty outstanding performance. They had an 11-shot deficit going into round 3, and they rallied as a team collectively, shooting 20 under par. Bryson DeChambeau himself shot a 62 on day 3 with 8 under. Pretty impressive running by this team. Crushers are looking to really get back to their 2023 team championship roots. Bryson DeChambeau, Paul Casey, Charles Howell III, and Anirban Lahiri. Anirban Lahiri is a really interesting guy that I heard on a podcast recently. Very mellow-headed Indian guy who wants to bring the game of golf, lives in Dubai. Pretty interesting stuff. I check it out. That was actually on the Fairway to Heaven official podcast of LIV Golf. So pretty interesting.
Well, this is the official podcast, but Fairway to Heaven had a good run. I think that just taps into why LIV is so amazing, because I know you and I talk about this a lot, but you and I have been going at each other for like 15 years in team golf, and it's the best version of golf, I think, because just like momentum swings are, I think, in more than any other sport, you can see it the most in golf. When a team gets hot, you start sinking putts, everyone starts feeling good, less pressure off the tee. It just means everyone else is playing well.
That's what I want to get at. I want to get these guys on the pod so we can understand, like, okay, so if you guys can't talk to each other throughout the day, like give advice or whatever, you're looking at the leaderboard and you're understanding, like, hey, we've talked about this in previous podcasts, but like what goes into that team mindset where you're like, today's the day. Do they get, I mean, there must be a locker room environment, right? Where they get together and, like, I don't know, they do the Herb Brooks speech in the locker room, get the boys all jazzed up, get out on the ice. I don't know. It's got to be like that. I'm like, look, we're shooting 20 under today.
It's got to be like You haven't hit your driver that well all week? Fuck it. We're down by 12 strokes. Just fire away. Who cares? We're all rich. We get this LIV money. And but it's amazing because that seems to happen quite a bit in LIV in a short history. Like you get these teams making these big comebacks. So
Yeah, I don't know. Looking ahead, some of the team outlook, obviously, some of the power rankings that are out there by LIV, riding high after four-shot triumph in Jeddah and boasting an impressive 18-point lead in the season-long team standings. The dynamic team, led by Bryson DeChambeau, is at the top of the leaderboard with the Crushers. But, hot on their heels, Torquay, of course. Joaquin Niemann, cell performance, securing his second LIV victory. Meanwhile, you have the Stinger GC, which is surging, South African team. You have it with Ustazen and obviously Schwartzel leading the charts. And the competition is really fierce with Smash GC maintaining momentum after their third place finish, which is Brooks Koepka's team. And then, of course, you can't rule out Legion 13. The Fireballs, the Australian team with Cam Smith, Ripper GC, and then the High Flyers, vying for their moment in the spotlight. I think
rule out the High Flyers. I don't think they're really getting it done, but the individual is fun to watch. But we could probably roll them out.
Just call them a day. They're not gonna. All right, we have to track that. High Flyers are going to not podium in 2024.
Yeah, mark that down.
I don't know some of the High Flyers here that can get inspired a little bit, but I mean, Pete, as far as the team, Torquay seems to be the team that you're leaning on right now.
Yeah, I mean, how could you not? Torquay has the best name, the best logo, and the best golfer on LIV right now. So choosing, I kind of feel like one of those kids in the mid-90s who just liked the Cowboys because they always won. But it's tough to root again. And Cowboys had good colors, cool logo. That's how I feel about Torquay. Dallas Cowboys of LIV 2024.
Absolutely. I think I'm still haven't quite solidified myself with a team. Torquay seems to be a podcast favorite.
I'm probably a Legion 13 guy, though.
I do like Legion 13. They're a lot of guys that, obviously Rom, big Caleb Surratt fan myself. Still, Tyrell Hatton's great. Still kind of out on Kieran Vincent. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what he's getting at. I need a little bit more personality from him. I need to have him on the podcast and talk a little bit and really understand his surge. He's got a twin brother, but seemingly a twin brother. I don't know if they're actually twins or not. But the point is, he's got a brother on the tour as well. They seem to be embedded with LIV. Could be long time LIV tour members.
When you look at twins, and if they're fraternal or identical, if they're fraternal, do you still see them as twins? Because I don't. I don't really care.
Fraternal is like where you have two eggs. Identical is obviously one egg that splits. Yeah.
It'd be like if you and I were born on the same day, from the same. We're not identical twins.
No, I think. Yes, I still see them as. I imagine that fraternal twins is still a genetic thing. As long as it's genetic, right? You have the same family, like generation after generation, spitting out fraternal identical twins. The identical twin thing is crazy. The egg separates. Both are good to go. And one time they were one, like that's weird. It's a crazy thing. Maybe we should have them both on and say, hey, like, what are you?
We should have them both on.
Really?
You and I can just talk to them at different times and see if they sync up.
Yeah, exactly. You should talk to them separately. We'll both have it on speakerphone. And yeah, perfect. All right. Going into the last final two thoughts of the podcast. Coming up, obviously, Hong Kong Golf Club. Pretty cool golf club. Just outside the city of Hong Kong. It's kind of like nestled in the hills. Backdrop looks great. A lot of LIV players have had success there. Cam Smith is looking pretty hot. He's had success there. It's going to be drastically different weather than Jeddah was. It's going to be like, I think, low 60s, possibly like cloudy, possible rain percentages out there. Some wind like up to 19, 20 miles an hour at times over the weekend. Like Sunday looks to be the worst out of all 3 days. So it's going to be an interesting tournament out there. looking at what they're going to do, I am interested to watch just because I'm just interested to see the course and what it looks like. And we talked about last week on the podcast the significant investment of, not only Hong Kong but the club, what this means to the community. I assume that they're hoping for a huge turnout as far as spectators, which is what was lacking in Jeddah, from what I saw, at least on day 1 and day 2. Like around the 18th hole, you saw some people, and they had these huge, beautiful stadium like club suites or whatever. But like I didn't see a lot of people hanging out of them. So I'm hoping Hong Kong has a better spectator turnout. We'll see.
I think it will. My two putt is just, even though I know I didn't watch myself, is just have everyone tune into Full Swing. It's like if you're trying to get somebody into the game of golf who's sort of on the fence, just thinks it's boring, maybe they're right. But then have them watch that Netflix documentary, because Netflix does a really good job of making it the most exciting sport ever, which I think we both agree on. And so, yeah. And that's a free plug. They don't sponsor us yet, Netflix. They should.
No, they don't. Or ask us to be videoed for Full Swing, but I think that's probably coming in the next season or two, depending on how long those agreements take.
Full
But
Swing season 2.5 is just us
coming in hot and heavy. The last thing, 19th hole, final thoughts. Any personal golf stories in the last week since we lost back podcast beat?
Just you got a haircut, which is pretty cool.
That is true. I did get a haircut.
For golf, I know golf's like a big, look good, feel good, play good sport. Was it because we have that trip coming up, or?
No, no. I'll probably need another one before that, since we're about a month and a half out. But it's just been a while, so it kind of needed it. Had to trim up the top a little bit, but feel good about it. The person at Sports Clips, her name was Stacy. Highly recommend. If you're in the Sports Clips, yeah.
Is either the sports or the clips end with a Z?
No, it's very standard spelling. It is one combined word, so you wouldn't typically associate clips with sports often. But yes, they do both end in an S, and I guess they don't end in an S, just clips.
Does the sports have an apostrophe?
It's a chain. It's just Sports Clips, like all one word. Yeah. No, it's no possessive form of clips. It's just Sports Clips. The sports does not own the clips. The clips do not own the sports. It's you go in there and they at the time that I go, it's just like high noon. Go and ask for Stacy, and she'll be ready for you, and she'll be happy to turn on. What were we watching? NFL Network. I think it was what's the show they play at noon? It's like NFL Talk. I don't know. They were talking about the whole franchise tag and the up in arms about that. And then Stacy was just going at it the whole time, just really jabbing at me about God knows what. And I'm carrying on with her because she's engaging, and I'm just like, look, if you
she's a fan too. Stacy
should have talked to her about the pod. Stacy is really mostly concerned about daylight savings, which is coming up this weekend, and the fact that she doesn't get fazed by it. And I told her that I had 2 kids that kind of turned into psychopaths with just 1 hour removed. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it together. I did actually go out and play 10 holes at a local members only course, which I'm not a member of. I was invited. Very happy about that. People do that every once in a while and play with the boys. What's that?
Where was that?
This is at the Golf and Polo Club of Saratoga.
In March.
Yeah. Well, it was like 60 degrees out on Sunday. And they have 10 holes. They basically just move, they move the stick like right in front of the green. And so we play up to it. If you're within the flag, then it's good. So like it's par 4, you hit 2-3 shots and you're within the flag stick of the green, count it as 4. You walk away with a par. So it's not legitimate, but it's a lot of fun. Just be able to go out. Some people walk with their bags on their back, and I'm not doing that. I had a push cart and was pushing my bag, and it was a lot of fun out there with the boys, and just be able to talk shit and hit balls and some people had some great shots, some people had some not so great shots. There's a lot of chip-ins, which was cool.
Name names. Who'd you play with?
It was me, Jake, Rob, Matt, and this person's going to be upset that it's Sean. He'll be really upset that he was last listed and I forgot about him for a half second. But
Okay.
yeah, really, really fun to get out there, especially with a guy like Sean, because he travels a lot for work, so you never see him. So it was good that he was able to get out. Everyone was just having a good time. And then of course, then you start talking three of the four of those guys are going on the golf trip to San Antonio. So, you're talking about that. And then you're talking about, should we make Sunday afternoons a regular thing? Seems doable. And it's look,
not doable.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on. I mean, I'm hoping that my course opens up in the next. It would be nice for it to open up a little bit before we go to San Antonio to get a few whacks in. But I want to try and make a Sunday morning, 7 a.m. round a regular thing.
That's the only course I've ever shot sub 100 in. It was 19 holes. So
yeah, McGregor Links.
If we could get a practice round in for San Antonio,
yeah,
great.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I think that basically concludes our podcast. I want to just go ahead and thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank our sponsor, Winking and Non Marketing. I want to encourage everyone to please subscribe, and comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know who you want on the podcast, what you don't want us to discuss, and what you do want us to discuss. And make sure that everybody be nice to everybody out there and just really enjoy the show.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a cut, go to Sports Cuts.
100%. Unsolicited. Goodbye, everybody.